Hello there, it's Patrina again with Do You Have a Couple Minutes? And today I want to know if you have a couple minutes to have a little recap of our discussions on relationship this week, and then closing out by talking about true you and joy. So this week we started talking about relationship and the influence and impact that comes through relationship. And we talked about in order to really have the best influence and impact, it's important to start out by trying to find some common ground, some common interest, maybe even problems that need to be solved or resolved, kind of understanding those, or if you have those in common, having that common ground will help with influence and impact because you're coming from a place of understanding in that relationship. Next, we talked about checking in to make sure that your communication was effective and that it was well received. And we talked about some different ways to do that, certainly asking questions, but also in larger groups, making sure that people are paying attention by maybe having polls or having some time to take questions from others. We then talked about making sure that we don't let differences get in the way of us developing better relationship, that differences aren't necessarily things to be avoided as much as they are things that we want to make sure that we understand. And it helps us all by having different perspectives and being able to be more empathetic. And by understanding those differences, sometimes we're able to get past them. And other times we are at least making a decision from a point of knowledge and understanding versus making a decision from a point of just assumption. We also talked about understanding that relationships grow and change over time, and those relationships can be strengthened. They can take on different perspectives, or those relationships may have just served their purpose for a time and we're able to move on. And just really understanding what kind of relationship that we have so that we can add value as well as receive value from those relationships. And with that, that leads us right into talking about that there is value in relationships. So we need to make sure that we are handling our relationships with care and with good intention, that we are seeking to understand as well as making sure that we are being clear in our communication and expressing our intents and motives so that we can be best understood. And I think perhaps the most important relationship we can have is the one that we have with ourselves, really being true to who we are and who we have the capacity to become. We can connect better with others when we're operating in the fullness of being our best selves. And, as we're going into the height of the holiday season for many of us, I wanted to share with you an experience that I had recently um, regarding some unbridled joy. And I hope that you're able to have this experience as you go through the season as well. I happened to be at an amusement park and I was riding a ride, one of my favorite rides. It's called Soaring at California Adventure, and if you've ever been on that ride, it kind of takes you up and it immerses you into pictures, and you feel like you're kind of soaring over different places in the world, and there's a little movement so you really do feel like you're soaring. Sometimes there's a little scent in the air so you feel like, when they're showing you African safari, you smell a little bit of the grass or those kind of things. And so I was riding this ride, and there were some people that had never experienced this ride riding next to me, and I think they were from another country as well. And so as the ride went up, they didn't really know what to expect, and they were so surprised and just in awe at the authenticity of the pictures and how things felt and what they were seeing because they didn't know what was coming. And they were just squealing with joy and just jumping and waving their hands and just excited. And at one moment, the one of the women looks over to me and she kind of makes a motion like she's sorry for getting so excited. And I was just filled with joy at seeing their joy because they allowed themselves just to live in the moment, to really experience the fullness of the moment, and just really enjoy the excitement that comes with experiencing something new and something pleasurable. And they really seem to have appreciation for it in the moment. But even after they got off of the ride, there seemed to be an appreciation and gratitude for it. And it was something that was amazing to experience. Again, I love it. Love that ride because it is such just an amazing experience going through it. But just to see someone else have that full joy experience going through it. And it's something that I wish for us all to be able to live in the fullness of the moment and to let ourselves go and not be so reserved when there are opportunities to express joy, to express love, to express appreciation, and to express gratitude in our experience and for one another. And I wish that for you all this holiday season and really throughout your whole life, because that's what this podcast is really about. I'm trying to share with you things that will help you to live a full life. So, I want to end this session by wishing each and every one of you a special holiday season. I thank you for being a listener to this podcast, for sharing this podcast with others. And I wish for us all a very happy and prosperous new year. I will be back next week to share some more, but I just want to wish all of you a very happy holiday season. And thank you for being part of a great 2023. And with that, that is my few minutes for today. I hope that you found this podcast to be inspiring, something to make you think, learn, grow, and ultimately lead a more fulfilling life. I hope that if you're enjoying this podcast, that you'll continue to like it, to share it with others so that they can come along our learning journey as well. As always, please be sure to check out the show notes for a summary of today's session, as well as contact information if you want to be in touch and information on how to get my publications. Thank you again for joining, and I hope to see you back next time. Until then, bye bye.